And welcome to another edition of Capital Market Live on Channels Television, where the market speaks and we analyze and tell you what this means for your money. I am Will Ibong. We begin with markets in Europe, where we see a dip on Friday following Wall Street's record-breaking rally on Thursday. The DAX closed lower at 0.56%. We see a similar margin drop for the FTSE 100 in the UK, and CAC 40 was down 0.21%. That's in France. Now, global investors were watching the latest developments between Ukraine and Russia on Friday amid warnings by NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte that Europe must be prepared for war. Now let's turn to Asia now, see how the markets performed on Friday. Traded higher. Japan's benchmark Nikkei 225 rose 1.37%. We see the Shanghai in mainland China also up 0.41%, and the Hang Seng in China up 1.75%. Now China's top leaders wrapped up an annual economic planning meeting on Thursday by affirming broad economic support for the year ahead, including boosting consumption and stabilizing the property sector. Let's turn to the U.S. now, see how they performed at the close of business on Friday. You see equities pulled back on Friday as investors continue to exit technology stocks and move into value areas of the market. S&P 500 fell 1.07%. You see the Dow Jones down 0.51% and NASDAQ 1.61%. And now that's to settle at 48,580 points. Now the move comes after the Federal Reserve on Wednesday cut interest rates for the third time this year. And let's check in with the domestic equities market. We see the NASD Securities Exchange closed the week higher as the index rose by 5.85% to settle at 3,600 points. Market cap stood at 2.15 trillion naira. Trading activity was positive. Volume jumped 155.93%. We see to 73.51 million units. Value was also up 728.27% to 6.651 billion naira. Now, total deals closed positive, closing at 129 deals, up 19.4%. Now, on price performance, NIPCO PLC was up 9.99% at 214 naira 48 kobo. MRS Oil Nigeria was also up 9.94% at 179 naira. Erkan Petroleum PLC was up 9.4% to close at 1 naira 28 kobo. Let's look at the losers. That was led by UBN Property Company. It was down 12.99%, and we see most traded securities there was also Friesland Campina Wamco Nigeria, NIPCO PLC, Friesland Campina Oil was in a positive, Erkan Petroleum, as I mentioned, was in a positive. And let's look at the losers now very quickly on the screen. We see the losers. We see UBN Property Company PLC down 12.99%, Golden Capital PLC down 10%, and CSCS as a Central Securities Clearance System, they were down 0.23%, closed at 39 naira 71 kobo. And now let's look at the top trades. E-Transact, Access Holdings, and FCMB Group led the activity chart as the most traded stocks for the week. Now let's look at the news making headlines this week. We also see Dangote Group plans to offer dividend payments in US dollars for investments in the forthcoming refinery IPO on the Nigerian exchange, scheduled to take place in 2026. Now, President Aliko Dangote announced this, saying shareholders will buy in naira but get dividends in dollars. And the dollar-denominated payouts are expected to be backed by about $6.4 billion in projected petrochemical export revenues, particularly for polypropylene and fertilizer. And the company says as it finalizes the IPO framework with regulators. And the move is part of Dangote's group broader strategy to grow revenues towards $100 billion by 2030, with the refinery seen as a key asset in boosting production and attracting investment despite currency volatility. Now, joining us in the studio to dissect all of this and more is Mr. Oluseyi Owoturo, immediate past president of the Institute of Capital Markets Registrars and a board member of Coronation Registrars Limited. Mr. Owoturo, it's good to have you join us.
Thank you, Bon. It's a pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to have you. Now, Mr. Owoturo, let's start with Dangote. Okay. Why is Dangote offering dollar dividends for IPO shares bought in naira?
Okay, so it's not unusual for a Nigerian company to pay dividends or to pay investment returns in foreign currency, you have the likes of Sierra Dell, for example. The only difference is that those securities were purchased in dollars, all right? So there you get dollar dividends or coupons, all right? Any other company could also pay dividends ultimately in foreign currency. And the caveat is that the shareholder in question, or the investor in question, must have brought in dollars and have evidence of CCI, which is Certificate of Capital Importation. What is different about Dangote Refinery is that it's a Nigerian company offering to pay Nigerian shareholders who invest in Naira in US dollars. Now, the only reason Dangote Refinery can do, or petrochemical can do that, is because they earn money in dollars, or they are going to be earning money in dollars. Therefore, if they have dollar flows, there's no reason why they can then not pay dividends in US dollars. Now, the caveat also is that they must then seek the approval of the regulators to be able to do that. So the SEC, for example, the Securities and Exchange Commission, as well as the NGX. Now, the CBN has a policy that if you're doing business in Nigeria and you can only offer business, in Naira, you can't price your services or goods in foreign currency. But this is different, a little different, because the entity in question is going to be selling products in foreign currency and earn foreign currency. And
so I just got it. I was going to ask you that if it was even legal, if it aligns with capital market rules in Nigeria.
There is no law against it. The only thing is that you have to seek the regulator's approval to do it. Yeah. Okay. I think what Dangote is trying to do here is democratize access to foreign currency for Nigerians. And when that happens, what will typically happen is that you will begin to see some stability in the Naira because more people have access. So you have less, fewer people trying to speculate on where the currency is going. So the more you democratize, what should happen is that everyone should have access to foreign currency, as it happens everywhere elsewhere in the world. Okay.
Yeah. I just want to know that does this mean that Dangote Refinery is already profitable, and where would the dollars actually come from?
They're selling products and they're exporting. Okay. So when you export, you earn foreign currency. So you have FX flows. It's not just dollars. The dollar is the trading currency of the world, though, but then it doesn't mean that they can't sell in other currency. But primarily, they're going to be selling in US dollars, exporting rather in US dollars. So they will have dollar flows. So they're not going to be depending on the CBN to fund the dollar dividends.
Well, I just want to know, is this a smart, innovative move, or does it signal a red flag? Does it signal that Dangote Refinery has less confidence in our Naira, or does it signal confidence that maybe Dangote Refinery is going to actually be making a lot of dollars and bringing in a lot of dollars into the country?
I don't think Alhaji Aliko does things, he doesn't do things the conventional way. I think what is being done, Dangote Refinery Petrochemical is a Nigerian company. It's going to be accounting in Naira. But it's going to be earning money in multiple currencies. So why not?
Well, I also understand how it works here because you pay in Naira. We know the exchange rate situation in Nigeria. The Naira is weaker compared to the dollar. How is this going to work out for investors? How would this benefit retail investors that are buying, paying Naira and trying to get dollars? How's it?
So what would happen
going to be like?
Is that Dangote's dividends are going to be declared in Naira because it's a Nigerian company. Under Nigerian law, you are going to translate even if you earn money in foreign currency, you have to translate to Naira. That's because you're a Nigerian company, all right? So, but then when those dividends are declared, there's going to be an exchange rate, all right, ruling at the time. Then there will be a conversion. So the investors who opt to receive dividends, because it's still an option.
Oh, so
you can still opt to receive your dividends in Naira. Okay. You can also opt to receive your dividends in US dollar or whatever. It typically we the US dollar. So it's up to the investor. Then there will be a translation as of the ruling rate as of that date will then be used to calculate the dollar equivalent for those who choose to receive in US dollars.
Okay, just to confirm, it's the dollar rate at the day of
ruling, exactly.
The payment date, the actual payment date, or the day it was declared.
There's a process. So typically it will be plus or minus around the date it was declared, or the qualification date rather, plus or minus. It could be 10 days before a ruling rate, or an average. It depends between the dollar and the naira, the average ruling rate for a period, and is adopted then. So on the day of payment, you get your dividends either in naira or the dollar at that rate, ruling at that day.
Okay, so but I just want to know, really, who is Dangote Refinery targeting in this IPO? Is it small investors or big institutions?
All of us.
Could you expatiate on that? Well, all of us.
All of us. So once you have money to invest, basically for me, I see a company that wants to democratize access to returns in whatever currency they choose. Now, it does not mean that. What does that mean? It means that as an investor, all right, if I have dollar or foreign currency expenses and I get my dividends directly from the company, because the company could choose to pay me in naira and then I go and look for the US dollar. But then if you flood individuals with US dollar, then you are giving them access. So you are democratizing that process, really. So they are not going, so speculation hopefully will reduce. And then I think that it probably will help even to strengthen the naira.
Let's look at that.
It could, really.
It could strengthen the naira, but let's look at that. What is the risk that investors, ordinary investors, should be worried about here? Because we're talking about reducing dependency or not making our economy dollar denominated. Okay. So how is this going to help stop that? Because you said it could reduce dependence on the dollar, but it could be the other way around as well. So what risks should ordinary investors be most worried about this IPO and dividends being paid in dollars?
I think the first thing is to look at generally where is the direction of the Nigerian economy. I think that the Dangote Refinery is a game changer, all right, we should look at it more like a national asset. So I think we should pack that aside first. It's a game changer because it's going to be saving Nigeria significantly some billions in US dollars that you would have used to go and import petroleum products. And then so the impact of that in itself could bring significant stability to the naira. Now, when your currency is stable, all right, it means that I can choose to play as an investor how I want to play because the currency is stable. I can choose to invest in naira. I can choose to invest in a currency that I think by bringing stability to the naira itself, you are strengthening the Nigerian economy because we're transacting in naira. So don't look at that. I don't think we should look at what Dangote Refinery is doing with any sort of suspicion. What should happen is that the more people have access to a product, all right, the more stable the price of that product. The fewer people have access to it, you understand, the price then rises. It's a question of demand and supply. So if more people have access to the dollar, you would see that the scramble after the dollar typically should reduce, in my view.
Okay, but could other companies, like we're talking about, start paying in dollars maybe after Dangote?
Well, if they don't earn money in dollars, they can't pay in dollars. Airtel Africa today pays Nigerian shareholders in dollars who buy in naira. So it's not strange. So if you are a shareholder of Airtel Africa, all right, and the reason is that Airtel Africa is a UK listed entity that has a secondary listing in Nigeria. So Nigerian shareholders who buy in naira on the NGX can actually opt to receive their dividends either in US dollars or in naira. In fact, Airtel Africa pays more dividends in US dollars in Nigeria than in naira.
I just want to know, what does this mean for Nigeria's stock market overall? Just let's close with that.
It's deepening the market, in my view. It will go to deepen the market. If by the time the Dangote Petrochemical comes to list, I presume that we should be seeing in the region of 5 to 7 trillion additional capitalization. It means that investors have more option in terms of what assets to invest in. I see it deepening the market significantly.
Now that's fantastic. We'll look forward to that. But we're going to take a quick break here. Capital Market continues right after. Don't go away. Welcome back. Before the break, we were talking about Dangote Refinery's IPO and its promise of dollar dividends. Now, Nigeria is making headlines with its first ever gas trading and clearing platform, a move that could change how investors look at the country's energy sector. Let's break down what this means. Mr. Oluseyi Owoturo, immediate past president, Institute of Capital Market Registers, is still with us in the studio. Good to still have you stay with us and talk this through, because before we went on break, we were talking about Dangote Refinery. And one more thing I just want us to go before we go into this is, how much do you think Dangote is going to be pricing its shares? Because everybody, I'm sure, is interested to know.
I think the first thing to look at is how much did it cost? And typically, when you build a house, you have the cost of building the house, and then you have the effort priced into it. So we are going to be seeing multiples of the $20 billion SACA that was invested into that business. It also depends on how many shares are going to be issued, because the price is going to be per share. All right. So I can surmise, back of the envelope, I'll be looking at an initial capitalization of anything between $60 billion to $70 billion. Depending on how many shares are issued, then you will see per share. All right, but I don't expect the capitalization to be less than $60 billion.
Okay, that's good to know. But we just want to look at this new gas trading platform that was launched on Thursday by the federal government. I just want to know, why is this a game changer for Nigeria's energy sector, especially now that Dangote is coming up with his IPO?
So historically, Nigeria's oil and gas commodities have been traded on foreign exchanges. So locally, there has been no transparent way of trading. It's been bilateral. When you do bilateral trade, what happens is that one party has information, the other party doesn't have information. So you don't have a perfect market. A perfect market is where all the transacting parties have information at their disposal, so there's no information asymmetry. You then have price discovery. You have a more transparent market. What that does is that people are then willing to invest more in that kind of market because it becomes transparent. So with this, I think it's JEZ or something. I'm trying to remember the name of the platform now. With the establishment of that platform, what would then happen is that you have a more transparent trading process where everyone has access to information. It's no longer bilateral, and there's price discovery. So you have more people invest. So imagine if the stock market were bilateral. If we're trading between ourselves, if I wanted to sell my shares, I had to go and look for a buyer. All right, that's not a perfect market. But when you have a trading platform where everybody submits their interest, it becomes more transparent.
So this is just like a stock market for gas?
Well, it's a market for trading gas. It's not a stock market. It's a market for trading gas.
Yeah. Okay, fantastic. But I just want to know, I know that you're big on technology. You've championed digital innovation in the processes of the capital market in the space of the time you've worked within the space. I see a lot of work that you've done within that. But can you speak more on how this will drive transparency? What should investors be expecting, actually?
Well, it's not for investors like you and I. It's for the big trading companies. I mean, these are large volume trades that will be happening. Traders are going to be, from across the world can come and trade on that platform. I think we should. It's a digital platform, so it's not. I'm not sure they are going to be trading physically. They won't have a physical trading floor. So it's a digital trading process where from anywhere in the world you can trade into that system. But it's for really big ticket transactions. They are going to be trading volumes. So it's not for small retail or investors like us. So it's not an investor per se where you see people come and buy securities on an exchange. All right, it's more for big volume oil and gas traders.
Okay.
That's what this platform is for.
Okay, so what opportunities does it lie for? Are you saying that local, maybe big institutions that local can participate on this as well, apart from foreign investors?
If you are in gas trading, yeah, typically you can participate.
What opportunities lie for there? What are the benefits of using this for them?
So like I said earlier, it's a more transparent process. It means that it's no longer bilateral. So if you are trading in gas, all right, it means that, I mean, the users of, so for example, I expect that the electricity producers, the GenCos, I expect that they should be able to access, because there's been some difficulty for some of them in procuring gas to power their turbines. So I expect that this platform should provide some transparency in terms of access to gas, in terms of pricing, in terms of availability. So probably we will see a bit more impact on the electricity sector. And for large industrial users, the likes of that power their factories by gas, maybe also we'll see some impact in terms of access to gas. Nigeria has a lot of gas. The trading process is the challenge. The gas exists, but how do you trade the gas? Getting the gas, even the gas infrastructure, investment in infrastructure, investment in trading platforms. So I expect that this will be a beginning of some other beautiful things to happen, really.
Is it going to save money for these big investors?
It should definitely.
The past, and then what are they expected to benefit in terms of how much money are they going to save in using this?
So we should see some, when you have a more transparent market and you have price discovery. So in investment banking, the price of a product is what two individuals agree on. But those individuals must have access to information. All right. So when you have price discovery, you are going to see efficiency in how gas is priced.
Okay, so the efficiency is going to help.
It's going to translate,
into money saved in their pocket.
That's what we expect.
That's what we all expect. We want to save some money and cut out the middlemen. So what's going to happen to maybe the middlemen that used to operate this stuff? Are they going to lose their jobs or something? What's going to happen? Is there going to be a job loss in the process of digitalizing?
Ultimately, as you create efficiency in a process, it creates other opportunities. So take, for instance, when the government licensed the telcos, all right, some people felt it was going to take away jobs, but then it created other opportunities. So MTN and Airtel today, I mean, how much do they contribute to the Nigerian economy?
That's a lot of...
Exactly. So you will see efficiency. Once you build in efficiency into a process, it creates other opportunities. Because when you have inefficiency, it costs all of us. We are the ones paying for inefficiency because then you don't have gas to power your... when the GenCos don't have gas to power their turbines, we all pay for it because then we all have to go and buy diesel to power our generators.
Okay, let's bring it now home to our capital market and our stock market, our equities market. How does this whole reform in the energy sector, Nigeria's energy sector, build investors' expectations for our energy infrastructure?
So you see, we're seeing that in terms of how the PIA, all right, is what gave rise to the likes of, why the likes of Dangote Refinery and petrochemicals, is why the NNPC is planning on listing, all right? So we're seeing those...
We'll come to that listing. When is it going to happen?
Well, we expect that it should happen sometime between 2028, 2029. And the reason is that there's a lot that the NNPC still has to do to get ready for an IPO. There's a lot that has to happen. Don't forget that 2027 is an election year. So it's not likely that the NNPC will come out. It's a government-owned entity. It's not likely that it will come out with an IPO in 2027, 2026. 2027 is an election year. So the earliest that it would happen will be 2028, yeah.
And how is that going to... Investors have been looking forward to this. How's that going to play out? Maybe just paint a little picture to what Nigerians should expect maybe when NNPC does list on the NGX.
If NNPC lists, I would sell all I have to buy the shares, or almost all I have to buy the shares. The first dividend declared by Saudi Aramco was $20 billion SACA after their listing. Translate that to Naira, how much of that is Nigeria's annual budget? So I expect that the expectation is that a delisting on NMPC on the NGX or whatever platform they choose, I would expect that it will be the NGX anyway, is our flagship exchange. It's going to translate the Nigerian capital market significantly. Significantly.
Let's hope NMPC does stay profitable to be able to give returns to investors.
They won't have a choice.
They won't have a choice now. Thank you so much, Mr. Oluseyi Owoturo, immediate past president, Institute of Capital Market Registrars and board member, Coronation Registrars Limited. Many thanks for your time.
It's a pleasure, Yvonne.
And that wraps it up for this edition of Capital Markets. Remember, whether the markets are bullish or bearish, knowledge is always your best investment. Keep watching, keep learning, and keep growing your financial survey. You can catch this again on our YouTube channel. I'm Will Ibang. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.